Mother, Abbas, Sasi, Abbas Cheryl on the what's this
Yes.
good morning. Welcome, Abbas. Right? Teacher, Shepherd Markey, Brother Darren, welcome.
Yes.
Right? All my brothers and sisters in Christ. I just want to start, before I start, I just want to sing just a verse and a chorus of hymn 155. Right? Mommy, you help me?
Hymn 155. Yes.
My good, all precious solid from all above is sinking sound. All on the ground is sinking sound. When I got this piece of word from Mother to research on, that's the hymn that came to mind. On Christ, the solid rock, I stand. All other ground is sinking fast.
My God.
Before I get into my piece, I just want to reference. I like to use the testimony. Today, Sister Miracle, on Christ, the solid rock you stand.
Praise
All other ground is sinking
Praise
fast. Let me tell you something. You touched me today.
My God.
You touched me today because you remind me of me when I was young and your age. And sometime in your youth, you have to go against the odds. Because you have to understand your foundation. And know that Christ is the solid rock you stand. And He's your guide, He's your protector. He's the one who will see you through. And when you reach an age where, so the world will start to be thrown at you.
Oh, yes.
Hello, you will be able to stand strong.
Praise
Yeah, Lord.
I must say, before I could get into my delivery this morning, that is foundation.
Praises.
What is foundation?
My God.
What foundation we building on? Now notice that the team today taking it at a different direction or a different angle. And before we, just as with Brother Darren and Sister Miracle highlighted, we had to know the options.
Oh, yes.
As she started
Two
the
roads,
roads, the
yes.
foundations that are
Oh, yes.
available. Which foundation are we standing on today, brothers and sisters?
Oh, yes.
The first thing I want to use is a highlight because sometimes we use a word and we don't understand. What is a foundation? A foundation in the dictionary is described as the lowest load-bearing part of a building.
My God.
Notice,
Lord bearing.
I'm using a building, but in this instance, we would use the analogy of yourself.
Truly.
The lowest load-bearing part of yourself.
Foundation.
Why so? Why reference the foundation
My God.
as the keeper of you? Because you know why? It is when that foundation is tested,
Oh, yes.
you understand, hey, which foundation do you really standing on?
Oh,
If
yes.
you're standing on a solid rock, or if you're standing on sinking
Truly.
sand.
Oh, yes.
We as Christians have to go through and we have to tear out and we have to rip away to understand and to build that foundation. We have to understand the materials that create that foundation.
Truly.
We have to understand how. Because we have some, new ones in the midst. And even myself, I consider myself a newbie. We have to understand how do we build this foundation and ensure that it is a rock and not of sand.
Oh, yes.
Right, brothers and sisters? Foundation for us could be referenced to the underlying basis of our principles. What we do, we morally make our decisions on a daily basis. What forms our character as man, woman, child. That is the basis by which our foundation is knitted.
My God.
It is like you have different materials that make up a foundation. You have the beam, you have the concrete, you have the sand, but each and every aspect must come together
True, true, true.
and must bind and must be strong. So what do we need to consider today is what do we need our foundation to be created of or be filled with to ensure that our foundation is not of a sinking sand nature, but is of rock.
Truly.
Most of us had a start through our family life or our role in the family or through heritage. We have adapted a foundation that allowed us to know Christ. But there are those, just as Sister Miracle said, there are those that didn't. They may have to start. They may not have known. They may have to open the Bible for the first time when they enter a church. How do we start? How do we have an understanding? How do we recreate and start to build? Some of us might even be in the church and still not have an understanding of how do we ensure that our foundation is of solid rock.
Truly.
So I want to highlight some elements that can help us today. First thing first, we life.
True.
We live in. We characteristic our morals. How we deal with people. That sets a tone for our foundation. Right? I say, my mother always say, man has chemistry, negative and positive. God give us that understanding of right from wrong. From the day a baby born, and they tell them, don't do that, they know, don't do that.
Yeah.
But they will still test to see if you're doing it. If I do it, they know, but they tell them, don't do it. And they say, don't do that. It have us as adults who still have that characteristic. You say, don't do that, and you say, don't do that. But when somebody turn around, you do it.
My God.
Your moral, your principle, your guide, these are things that help us build and knit our foundation. The word. Thank God for COVID, because I think COVID has allowed us to go into the word in a different way. In a different way.
Oh, yes.
So much so that we can get things a better understanding.
Truly.
The word is the strength. The word is the strength. And you have to go into the word daily to ensure that you maintain your foundation and you keep your foundation of a certain aspect, of a certain strength that is able to withstand any storm that may come your way. Your leaders, your guiders, those who are of influence in your life. We have a great mentor here in Mother. And I want to say your foundation could be crafted through her will, through you. Her encouraging us to come here on a Sunday to speak. Her encouraging us on a Wednesday to go in the word. Her encouragement and that constant guidance to not ensure that her soul is kept in a certain line.
My God.
Our foundation, and I also want to reference it to the parents who are on the line today, because sometimes we take for granted that we have a major role to play in each and every child in making sure they have a sturdy foundation.
My God.
God grant us that ability and that understanding and that privilege to be that parent in that child's life. And you have a role to ensure that the start is of a sound one, and of a godly one, and of a Christian one, and is in the right path. So that today, when they're tempted by the ills and the influences that is out there, they could stand on that solid rock.
My God.
Hence why I reference back to Sister Miracle this morning. On Christ's solid rock. Sister Barbara, take a bow. You understand? Because it wouldn't have been possible if she didn't have a solid foundation of her. Parents, today, this week, I saw saw a video of a set of children, if they see them in the short pants drinking and everybody have it up on their status and they saying this generation. You know the reality of those children? The parents doing the same thing.
Same thing.
The same thing. In the pool, in the sports day, in the gatherings, when they're lining on the street, any possible means. That is what they're seeing demonstrated.
My God.
So you know what? They demonstrate what they see.
Yeah.
Come down on them. They're misguided. You understand? So your teacher, your leader, the person that you look up to has an important part to play in your foundation. Caretakers of your growth at your embryonic stage. I want to reference to the numbers 1 to 4. The embryonic stage of your life is most important. And let me explain what that means. When we are embryo, meaning like a fetus, whether it be spiritual or carnal, when we are at that fetus stage, that nourishment that is given to us is what is going to build us into a nice, formed child of God. You see, all of us who are at that embryonic stage, we now come out from the water and we open to the elements. Be mindful that you need to ensure that your nourishment is from the right source. It's from a sound source. It's from a source to make it grow. It's from a source to make it develop and maintain as it's supposed to. Don't be astray. Don't let things distract you. Listen, this is the time when all kind of different things will come at you. All kind of different philosophies. And I reference back to the scripture, verses 22, right? When they talk about, but Christ, I perform. There are a lot of false prophets out there. There's a lot of false performers who drawing strength from other negative sources and want to come and tell you, this is the way. Truly. My God is not so. You understand? And he's very simple, he's very calm, he's very calm, he's very still. So be mindful of that. At this stage in your Christian life, in your spiritual life, be careful where you're getting your nourishment from. Make sure it's from the word. Make sure it's from a mentor and a leader that is of sound mind. Make sure you're within a support system. And here we're about to talk about family role. Spiritual family and carnal family plays an important part in our foundation. Just as I referenced with Miracle and all of us who here and started with our family, and we had a grandmother or a mother who insists when it's Sunday come and we get up and we go to church and we hear the word of God, it's the same way with the spiritual role.
My God.
Our spiritual family builds us.
Oh, yes.
And I have to say, and I will testify, I have had the most growth within Gabriel Restoration Circle.
Amen.
So I give kudos to my family. Because I know, you understand, my family supporting me. And my family through thick and thin is here with me. You understand, no matter where it be. And the last part I want to talk about in reference to the material to make up your foundation is your restorative support.
Oh, yes.
Hence, Gabriel Restoration. When I say restorative support, I want you to understand. When your foundation is tested and your building is shaken and it's broken down to pieces, your support system is what will help you build back up. Your foundation has to get though over time and over years you have wear and tear happening. You have all kind of things, corrosion, all kind of things happening with your foundation. So when you have that some restorative support, that here what? You know when you see, like I just always say them people in Florida, they're brave. Because every year they build a house, hurricane come, take it away, and then they come back fast and they build up. That's what we kind of need with regards to our spiritual being. When we broken down and when we torn apart and when our foundation in life is tested on And then we get to determine if it's really sinking sand
Oh,
or if it's
yes.
a rock. Then we still need that restorative support to make sure and bring it all
Oh,
together.
yes.
Right? Lord, it's continually highlighted throughout the Bible that the Lord is our rock and salvation.
Truly.
Right? And once we understand that the Lord is our rock, only last night I was making a reference to somebody that your rock, it starts as a rock, but if you go into the word, you will realize it begins and it grows into a fortress.
Oh, yes. So true.
Once you stay within the word,
Oh,
your restorative and your function will become, your foundation will not only stand as a rock, but will become a fortress for you.
nice.
So when the enemy come to test you and come to shake you and come to test who you are, because of your foundation will enclose you and save you from the enemy. Brothers and sisters, on Christ the solid rock I stand.
Amen.
All other ground is sinking sand. Now, before I leave today, I just want you to, I want everybody to understand, because I can tell you personally, you know, there's a hymn that goes, nobody greater, nobody greater, nobody greater than you. I searched all over, couldn't find nobody. I searched high and low, still couldn't find nobody. Nobody greater, nobody greater, nobody greater than you. If I allow these songbirds to continue here, they go take over. But let me just reference to that particular hymn. You know why I know where he on that hymn writer know that nobody greater is when you try alternatives and they fail you time and time again, you understand that there's nobody greater than God for you. So you see all the tries of the sand foundation that we want to try. We want to be in the world. We want to understand things of the world. We want to put ourselves out there. We want to get involved with all sorts of stuff. When you try it, when you try every possible avenue to not want to accept God as your rock and your salvation, and you fall 10 times fall, hello, when you want to turn and understand that God is your solid rock. He is the rock. He is the foundation. He is the one to see you through. He is the one to make you to watch through, run through this life, and to be at ease. Hurricane could be coming. Winds could be coming. Storms could be coming. Earthquake could be happening. But once your foundation is of Him, on Christ is solid rock, you stand. And all other things will become sinking sand. So this morning, my brothers and sisters, I want to say a life without God, right, is empty. A life without understanding Christ is empty. A life without getting up when the morning comes and giving Him praise and thanks, could fall to you, and that's another thing